A United States court has sentenced Oluwaseun Adekoya, a 40-year-old Nigerian resident of New Jersey, to 20 years in prison for orchestrating a sprawling bank fraud and identity theft scheme that targeted home equity lines of credit. Adekoya, who went by several aliases, including Ace G, Broda, Legendary, Santa, Santana, Sammy Lobonko, Sean Maison, and Keen_Maison, was convicted earlier this year. He was sentenced on December 1st after a 3-week trial. Adekoya obtained lawful permanent resident status in the U.S. in 2004. John Sakone, acting U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of New York, described Adekoya as a fraudster who abused the privilege of lawful permanent resident status to steal the identities of innocent Americans so he could live lavishly in our country, without an ounce of remorse.
I could have killed a lot.
In a statement, the U.S. Attorney General's Office, Northern District of New York, said the investigation into Adekoya started in May 2022, when Broadview Federal Credit Union, headquartered in Albany, identified a series of impersonation transactions at its branches in the capital region and referred the case to the FBI Albany. The ensuing investigation led to the discovery that Adekoya was the mastermind of the nationwide operations and to the prosecution of 13 additional co-conspirators through a series of superseding indictments, all of whom pleaded guilty to their roles in the offenses before trial. The statement reads, the defendant's conspiracies were brought to a screeching halt by his federal arrest on an initial indictment on December 12, 2023.
Continue.
Evidence at trial showed that when the FBI attempted to enter the defendant's luxury apartment on December 12, 2023, to execute a federal search warrant, Adekoya wiped the primary phone he had used to orchestrate the conspiracy. Nonetheless, the FBI seized numerous burner phones used by Adekoya to perpetrate the charged crimes. The FBI also seized Rolex watches, a $51,000 Tiffany engagement ring, designer handbags and shoes, and approximately $26,000 in a bank account used by Adekoya to launder his proceeds. The government has since forfeited those items and others. Prosecutors, who described Adekoya as a career fraudster, said from the comfort of his luxury apartment in New Jersey, he obtained publicly available information regarding people's helix at localized credit unions throughout the U.S., shifting his focus over time to different parts of the country to avoid law enforcement scrutiny. He then utilized encrypted messaging platforms, such as Telegram, to obtain social security numbers, account numbers, mothers' maiden names, and other personal identifying information, PII, for individuals he had identified as having substantial equity available in their helix. Adekoya then gave this information to a vast network of managers he recruited from all over the country, along with fake driver's licenses for lower-level workers to use to impersonate helix customers and conduct withdrawals from their accounts. To insulate himself from detection, Adekoya utilized the web of burner phones and encrypted messaging applications and laundered his substantial share of the proceeds through bank accounts in other people's names. He also reinvested some of the proceeds into continuing the fraud scheme by purchasing air and bus travel for co-conspirators, fake driver's licenses, and rental cars used to drive workers to credit unions. Craig L. Tremoroli, Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI) Special Agent in charge of the Albany Field Office, said Adekoya spent almost 2 decades of his life creating a massive criminal network that stole from hardworking Americans. This sentence ensures he'll spend the next 2 decades of his life in federal prison, Tremoroli said. During the sentencing, May D'Agostino, U.S. District Judge, said Adekoya is a perpetual thief and a flagrant serial offender who has orchestrated increasingly sophisticated felony identity theft and fraud offenses since he started his criminal career in 2008 at the age of 22. The judge also convicted more than 10 of Adekoya's co-conspirators.